Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video, and I have a really unique one for you today. Now, this is the mod Arc Editions. It's a review. The guy that makes it has some awesome stuff. I mean, these creatures are amazing. They've got unique abilities. They've got awesome creature models. He does a great job with what it is. Now, that being said, a couple of these dinos, from what I have been told by people, now I can't obviously confirm this, I don't know for sure. These are from this pack, this Arc Editions pack, came the deinonychus, and I think it had something to do with the flyer as well, the most recent flyer. But you know, so basically what I'm saying is that from this core set of dinos, you have a chance, these have a chance of being added into the real game. Now, that's an interesting thing. I don't know for sure if that'll ever happen with some of these because they are super overpowered, but some of them are really amazing. The deinonychus is pretty awesome. This is the deinonychus. You've got the I'm not even going to try and say it, Cryolophosaurus, the Concavador, whatever you want to call it, Acro, Brachiosaurus, Archelon, and then the Ziphanctic. But anyways, that being said, these dinos are amazing, and this is the Arc Editions mod review. Now, these could be added to the real game, and that's why I think it's important to know some of these. So I'm going to go over them, and this is going to take a little longer because there are 7 dinos that I have here for you. They are really awesome models, and for those of you like, what do you mean, what's in the water? Yeah, it's a giant, it's basically, if you know what a tarpon is in real life, it looks just like a tarpon. Now, I've given it some levels so we can kind of give it some stats here. It is level 1, just so you can see that. Its health and everything seems to go up pretty easily and pretty well. It looks like one of the most powerful things on it is having some crazy high movement speed. But that's my personal opinion. I like to jack up movement speed, so take that for what you will. And if you didn't know that it could do that, you can actually like beach the thing, which is kind of funky. But it's also very fast. It does a crazy amount of damage. And right now I am realizing that I have my numbers turned off, so I'm going to go ahead and turn those on real quick. I'll be right back. Alright, and we are back with the damage numbers turned on now, so we can actually see what this guy's capable of. I love this ability that he's got the ability to beach himself and then like toss himself back in the water. But it's a really fast tame, as you can see. Like you need to really be on your game because he moves. But it's also kind of difficult to hit with this box. 75. Okay, that's not too bad. So for a level 1, with a little bit of increased melee damage, he does an additional 75. It looks like he's gonna maybe try to go back in the water. I don't know what happens. I'm kind of curious to see what happens now. But that being said, he will sit there, and I've never left him out, so we'll see. So 75 damage is not that bad. The Archelon, this guy right here, is a amazing creature. They have really high base health, like crazy high, really good stamina, really good melee damage. Their movement speed, it can be cranked up really high because it goes up in 2%, like it doubles. But the melee damage seems to be one of the things that could be really helpful because it's health. I mean, or if you really wanted to just have a soaker, this guy can have so much health. On land, they are super slow, as you see right here. Nothing crazy about them being on land. They do have a primary attack, just so you can see that. They don't have like a jump attack. They do not have anything other than that, just general primary attack on land. So that's kind of interesting. But once you get in the water, it's a whole different thing. These things are really fast. They move quick. They have that primary, which is really cool. And if you hit spacebar in this, it'll raise you to the surface, which is kind of neat. You do have that sprint special, which is kind of unique. If you hit C, it'll drop you down. But they are really neat creatures because they are so fast. They have so much health, and they do quite a bit of damage, as you see right there. 190 is not too bad for a water-based creature. And all that being said, you know, it doesn't have a secondary, but that primary is pretty cool. And I just like the ability that it's a sea turtle. It's pretty sweet. Now, this also existed before the Arc newest creature that is, you know, the giant turtle of death. But anyways, so it's some people say that it's kind of similar in comparison. But Say what you will. That's kind of that one right there. There's nothing super special about it, nor about the little fish thing. So that's kind of that. Now these guys have some specials though. So this is exciting news. So this is the cryo, or the whatever you want to call it. Now he has the ability to store cryo liquid by filling himself with water or marshland. You can see that right there. Now once you have said cryo liquid stored, what you can do is you can enter this kind of turret mode, and you can smack things with your turret mode. Now, just like you see right there, you cannot spit right now. It'll knock things out pretty quickly, which is really neat. You can see that knocked out. Yeah, pretty quick, which is really awesome for this guy, but he can also do that to you in the wild. So that's kind of that. Your secondary attack is what allows you to recharge this. He does have a primary attack. He's got a good space, a good jump attack, which is pretty cool. He does a decent amount of damage. 240 for like a raptor size thing. Pretty sweet, not too bad. And he attacks very fast, which is unique. So this is a lot of fun to see him do that. But he also has this kind of like spray attack where you see me in this mode right here. And if you hit your left control, he will kind of send out like this spray, not an attack, but like, or not like a missile, but like this spray out in front of you that does like a puff kind of damage. Whereas C sends out that cryo liquid that allows you to, for lack of a better word, knock things out. You can see that right here we've got ourselves some ants. If I go ahead and go into this mode and then whoosh, it does a little bit of damage, but you can hold it, which is the nice thing. So it's like a cryo freeze, and it does a little bit, but it also does quite a bit of torpidity. So we're gonna go ahead and get out of this mode actually and just bite them to finish this fight. Where'd you go? There you go. Thank you. All right. But the cool thing is you can just refill with water. So you got to be near water for him to be really successful. But nonetheless, it's pretty cool if you ask me. That's a really unique thing to have. All right, so let's go on to this guy right here. So you can see that I've basically taken him and frozen him in place. And boom, got him. And he gets a little freak out when he does it. Now, also you'll notice that if I sit here, he will pass out because I just hit him with that super stuff while he was frozen. So this guy's got some really neat things. It's hard to tame because he will freeze you in the wild. Yep, it's unconscious. There it goes. So these are really awesome. I really hope they add them to the game. But you can see health is pretty decent. Stamina is pretty decent. You can increase that melee and really drop things. It's just, there's some crazy stuff with these things. They are really awesome mounts. At least I like them. It's kind of like a specialized ground mount. I think it's not too overpowered because you're on the ground, so it's not like air tames are super in trouble. So that's my personal opinion. So that guy's awesome. Let's move on to the next one. This is another amazing one. This is like the Concavador, if you want to call it that. Concavador, whatever you want to call it. So it's got a primary, but what makes this one so special, it's got some really nice stats. You can crank up that, you can crank up that, you can crank up some melee. We're just going to like toss it in the melee. Let's get it to 1,000 just for some fun. And this is what's crazy. So as soon as you hit left click, he goes underground. And he's crazy fast. He can attack things above the ground. And he'll go right underneath like this. And he's very hard to hit while he's under this ground. Now, he's very fast. You can see this little speed thing going on right now. He'll give you a little bit of a, I mean, swimming under the ground is so cool. I think this is such a unique thing that needs to be added to the game. But that's my personal opinion, so take that for what you will. And you can keep them under the ground in the wild, which is really, really unique. They do have some crazy abilities. I mean, that ability alone is just nuts. So take that for what you will. They do not have a, what do I say? A C underground or a tertiary attack underground, but you can see above ground they've got this like sandstorm kind of thing where they can like puff themselves into it. And boom, they just kick up the dust, and then he's gone. See ya. Now, that's a really cool thing in my opinion. He does a ton of damage. They are super fast, which is really awesome also, obviously, because that speed allows you to have it as a kind of a scouting mount. I can see this being an issue in PvP because some turrets might not register this thing because he's technically underground, but I don't know for sure. We'll see. But that ability is super unique. It's another one of those things that I think Arc needs to add just because you got to change the meta in some way, shape, or form, and the Concavador is amazing at doing that. Now, these last three, the Acro, the Brachy, and the deinonychus, or deinonychus. Now, the deinonychus is an amazing creature. Now, a lot of people forget this. He's got some crazy stats. I'm not even going to like bother to show you all of them because, I mean, starting at 7,000 health for a large carnivore is crazy. Stamina is already really high. Melee damage is all really high. Movement speed goes up pretty heavily, which helps a lot with this thing. And he's just, in general, a crazy, crazy mount. Obviously, if they were to add this guy to the game, they'd have to change some of the stats. But it is a alligator, or whatever you want to call it. But it's an actual dangerous one, unlike the Sarcos or the other alligator in Arc. But you can see they're pretty fast under the water. You put them on land, they're not super fast. But what gives them some crazy stats is the ability is, you won't see it because this guy's going to do too much damage to literally everything. But they have a bleed attack, which will, very similar to the deinonychus, which kind of gives them that bleed ability to take 5% of something's health, which is really awesome. So you've got the tail whip attack, you've got that secondary click, you do have the primary click. What's really neat about it is he'll snap in whatever direction you want him to. And let's say something's behind you, you can do that. Just like in real life with a crocodile, they're very quick left and right. So this actually brings crocodiles in real life kind of to this, like, actual closer to the game, I suppose you might say. Because in real life, they're actually dangerous. In Arc, nobody fears them. They use them for hide early game. Like, that's how little fear people have of them. They will hunt them down with a bow. And it's not necessarily super realistic, in my opinion. But this guy actually brings a little bit of fear back to the crocodile, which is kind of cool in my opinion. Alright, so now, on to the last two. These two are a different level of overpowered, and I desperately hope they add them to the game. This guy is a Giga Killer, the Acro, and this guy is just an, in general, slayer of demons. Now, the Acro is beyond slow. Now, very similar to the Titan, no speed movement, no none of that kind of stuff, nothing crazy. Insanely high starting health. You can get him into like the hundreds of thousands. Stamina's pretty good. Melee damage, you can get some crazy, crazy, crazy melee damage. Now let me tell you why. So he's got a primary attack, and that primary is just like a kind of like flick, if you want to call it that. Like you see right there, he'll gather quite a bit of stuff. He does pound stone, metal, flint, all that kind of stuff out of rocks. So they'd probably have to remove that if they added him to the game. But here's where it's insane. So he will have a secondary attack, and that secondary attack is kind of like that kick outwards. So he's got that, unlike the Bronto, he's got a way to get forwards and backwards. The Bronto sometimes has a little bit of an issue with that, and same thing with the Titan. But this thing has a power stomp, and it's deadly. So if you hit C, you'll see him jump up in the air. And when he lands with this attack, it's over. He's got to like charge it up basically. And when he does, it's like a see you later kind of situation. I haven't actually landed with it. So you can kind of like charge like you see here. And then as soon as you click, boom. Now it does damage to literally everything nearby. And it's not 24-second timer cooldown because, well, I'll show you. I'm going to go do it to these dinos over here. And you'll understand why this thing's crazy. Now, he does damage to metal, which could be a reason why they wouldn't ever add him or have to remove him, because that attack right there will basically two-stomp metal. And let's show you what this attack does damage-wise. Now, go ahead and charge up the big boy, and then release the attack. Boom. Alright. So you see right there, 17,000 damage is why this thing probably needs to be nerfed just a little bit. But that attack alone is awesome. You ride up on top of its head. It's just a cool tame, in my opinion. So Oh well. Now the Acro. Now the Acro is the next thing we're going to talk about. Obviously I'm skipping over some things on these dinos, but I'm just showing you because they're so cool. So the Acro has a primary. It's got his bite. He's got his secondary, which is cool. I'll show you that value in a second. He's got a stomp attack, which is his tertiary, which is at C. He does not have the ability to jump. He does have the ability to sprint, and he's pretty quick at it, which is nice. This secondary, it's meant for turrets. So you see how you're kind of easy to hit on the side of him right there, riding? What can happen, and all you gotta do, hit that C, and he'll approach, covering you. So he will literally go at an approach angle, and then also do damage to metal, stone, and it's kind of like a battering ram kind of attack, which is really useful, because if you think about it, it's a dino that actually keeps in mind the ability to, for lack of a better word, protect you from turrets. Other than the Stego, there is no other dino that does that. And Trike, I guess. But you've got to like go at a certain angle and so on and so forth. This actually gives you the ability to get in the middle of that. Now another special thing, when this thing takes too much damage, he'll go into like a rage mode where he takes very limited damage and heals back up. It's pretty crazy. Obviously I'm not near turrets and stuff, so I'm not going to be able to show you that. But he is an awesome dino. Very similar to the Giga in his ability to attack, destroy, stuff like that. Obviously has that ability to have higher health, which is why he's super crazy powerful. And I'm sure you could have a Carno that could soak, and that's you know, a really awesome thing in Arc. And you can see there's that stomp attack again. But again, these things are awesome. The Arc Editions creatures are amazing. And I really do hope more of them get added to the game, and this is kind of like my mod review of them to show you a little bit more, and hopefully some of these get added to the game and like this new, unique, upcoming stuff. So anyways, I think if it was my choice, the one that would probably get added to the game first are probably the 2 water tames, because they're not super powerful, but like this guy could be pretty awesome. So could the deinonychus. The Archelon, maybe, probably not, but I mean, the water does need some more stuff in it. There's so much water life in our history, and especially when it comes to fossils, dinosaurs, and stuff like that just aren't in the game. But, oh well, I guess. I mean, the Brachiosaurus would be a lot of fun too. I don't know. If it was me, I would want the Acro the most, but I foresee the next being added would likely be Deinonychus, the Ziphatinus, and the Archelon. But those are my thoughts. Let me know which one you think would be added or you'd like to see. If not, just let me know what you're enjoying about this mod. It's a lot of fun, and we'll go from there. All right, teach. Out.